Hello everybody, welcome back to the landscape. Somebody left me a comment some time ago that said something along the lines of, Hugh, could you just photograph one subject and talk about how you approach that subject and how you photographed it? And that's going to be this video. Now, I'm really sorry I didn't write down who left me that comment. So if you are that person, please forgive me. I hope you enjoy the content. If I can find it again and I can get the person's name, I'll stick it somewhere. But I've had it written down on my list of YouTube videos to do for a while, and I've been wambling around. In fact, I've been wambling around. I was on my way back to the car and I saw this tree. And what I'm going to do is what am I going to do? Can you see it from where you are? Let's just pan the camera around. Wrong way, that way. There. That tree. That's my subject. It looks absolutely stunning. In fact, I'm probably about a week early. It's in a week's time. The colour at the top of that tree, wherever it is over there, is going to be down here, and that's going to look, it's just going to be like a pillar of flame. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. But I'm not back here in a week's time, so I've chosen to photograph it as it is right now. So I will put you behind the camera, but for the moment I just want to talk very quickly about how I've approached it. So as it's a long, thin subject, it suits a long, thin frame. So I've gone for a portrait frame, so a frame like so, in order to contain the subject. I've also been very careful with the amount of zoom in or zoom out that I've done, because the base of the tree is quite dark. Quite like that because it gives the subject a foundation, and we all know that trees have roots and they're in the ground, and without those roots trees will fall over. But then what I've been very, very careful with is the very top of the tree, which goes straight into a blank white sky. Now I know that that means that the top of the tree gets cut off, but I'm just going to have to live with that fact. I mean, I will know that the top of that tree goes up into a bright white sky and it looks horrible. Other people won't. So there we go. As I've said previously, I take pictures for me, not for other people. Additionally, I've had to be careful left and right because there are other trees, as you saw when I panned the camera around, and I kind of don't want them. I want the viewer's eye to land on this potential pillar of flame and just go, well, the same reaction that I got really, which was, goodness me, look at that tree. And having other trees left and right kind of takes some of that reaction away. So I've zoomed in enough to be able to obscure them completely. I've also been quite careful left and right. So I'm going to have to come and get you in order to demonstrate this. So just give me a second. Okay, so there's my subject. You can see it quite clearly now. And moving left and right, which the gimbal is going to fight me on, what I'm being careful of is the placement of these tree trunks, which I don't want in the frame, but what I want is I want the tree evenly placed. Can you see I'm actually moving to the left? And now this tree, where is it? That tree there is starting to cut in. And if I move the other way, and again, the gimbal's going to fight me, you can see now this tree is a lot closer to the edge of that tree. So I've deliberately positioned myself so that I've got the maximum amount of room between that tree and the edge of our pillar of flame, and this tree and that tree and our pillar of flame. So I've got the maximum room left and right. From this vantage point, I can show you the fact that it cuts into the sky. which, no, that doesn't do anything for me at all. And also, you can see quite clearly why I've gone for a portrait aspect as opposed to a landscape one, because the landscape one includes all of these other trees, and I don't think they add anything with regard to what's going on. Okay, so one more technical aspect to consider, and that is a polarizer. Now, I can see from this vantage point that there is a little bit of glare coming off the leaves. We have had a little bit of rain today. We've also had a little bit of wind, and that's helped to dry some of the precipitation off, but I can see the leaves glaring back at me, and a polarizer is a fantastic tool to be able to cut through that glare. Now, I've got the polarizer already on my camera, already turned and set and ready to go. But generally, if I'm unsure about whether to use a polarizer or not, I will get it out of my bag, and I'm going to use a lens cap to demonstrate this. And I will hold it the right way round, the way round it would be, easy for me to say, on the camera, and then I will turn it. Now, obviously it's looking at my subject, but I will then turn it gradually to see whether it has any impact on whatever it is that I'm trying to address. Usually glare. Sometimes a polarizer does an excellent job of intensifying colour and increasing contrast. So I did that with this particular scene, turned the polarizer, and yes, it did make a difference. It was a very small difference, but the difference was there. So I've put it on the camera, I've rotated it already so it's all in the right position, and we are now ready to rock. So next thing to consider, focus. And to do that, I'm going to move you and put you behind the camera. Okay, so now we are behind the camera. I'm just going to demonstrate the left and right bit very, very quickly. So I am zoomed out, zoomed in as much as I possibly can, so I don't have any sky. But if I just move the camera ever so slightly so it points more to the right, you can see how this tree here creeps in. And then if I do the same over here, this tree starts to go out of frame, but then this one creeps in. So from this vantage point, it was about there, wasn't it? Something like that. I've got my main tree. I've actually got a tiny little birch tree here. I kind of quite like that. I like the idea of a parent and a child. Also, that tree hasn't fully turned yet, so it's actually helping to contrast with our pillar of flame. So what was I going to talk about? Yes, focus. So focus and depth of focus. So I want that tree to stand out. Generally, the background behind it is doing a good job. So the brackens are contrasting with the golds and the yellows down here. There's a swath of green here that's making the autumnal colour show out, and it's the same behind here. But there's an awful lot of detail back there. And in order to try and soften that detail, I've gone for a relatively small aperture, f4. But in order for that to work, I've taken a look at the subject itself, and I've noticed that these branches here, where my finger is rotating, they are forward of the subject. So I've actually focused on a branch that's coming towards me, so that f4 will give me that branch up to the trunk, and then that's probably about it. I'm not going to get a huge amount else in focus, which is great, because that will render or help to render everything that's going on in the background a little bit indistinct. So if I just check the focus point, and I'm doing it by eye, those leaves there, right at the very bottom, which is at the front of that branch, they are pin sharp. Hopefully you can see that that tree trunk behind isn't sharp, which is what it is that we're actually trying to achieve. Now I have my camera set to a 2-second timer here, and I'm choosing a white balance of cloudy, because that's what it is today. It's a cloudy day, and I think we're ready to go. I've already I've already leveled the camera, so no need to play with that. Yeah, hit the button, let the 2-second timer kick in. There we go, there's the image. wait for it to write to the card, and then what I always do is I review the image and review the histogram. So the histogram, it is a little bit on the dark side, but I'm not going to play with that. I've got no deep shadows. I know this sensor can render that shadow detail quite easily. And as you can see on this version, you know, the top is ever so slightly bright because it's starting to go up into the sky. So in software, I'll probably bring that down a little bit so it's more even with everything else around it. And that's it. Really, really, really simple image, but lots and lots of things to consider when photographing it. Things that, to be fair, I actually take for granted. But there we go. That's how I've gone about shooting that subject. So unusually for me, quite a quick video, I think. We'll find out when we get to the edit. But for whoever actually made the suggestion, I hope that this explanation has answered your question and that you've actually got something from it. I mean, the way I go about it, I don't think it's particularly unique to me. And the decisions that I made, they're not unique. But one thing that I pay a lot more attention to than some, not all, is the placement of the subject, making sure there are no distractions. All that stuff is crucial because when you get home, unless I live just down the road, which I don't, it's not as if I can just pop out and do it again. So when I get home, I don't want to look at the image and go, oh, I should have taken one step to the left or one step to the right, or, you know, not seen this or not seen that. I spend quite a bit of time making sure that what I've got in my frame is what I've got in my frame, and there's nothing interfering with the story or the notion or the suggestion that I'm trying to tell. And I would encourage everybody else to do the same. Right, before I ramble on and this video goes on for ages and ages, I'm going to call it right there. Thank you very much indeed for watching. If you like landscape photography, then please consider becoming a subscriber if you're not already. Hit the subscribe button and then there's a bell icon alongside. If you hit that as well, you will get notified as to when I upload new content. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up button. It helps this particular video and it also helps my channel. So until we're in the landscape again, everybody stay well and take care, and we shall see you again sometime soon.